Hey, so if you noticed the last few videos, I really haven't been doing much time lapse. I've just been talking, doing the work, then we talk about it, do some more work, talk about it some more. So let me know which way you like better. If you want some more time lapse, I can definitely do that. If not, I'll just keep doing it this way, and we'll change it up sometimes. I'm sure I'll have some time lapse sometimes, but we'll just figure it out, and let me know what you like better, and we'll go down that path. Alrighty, thanks.
Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So took about a week off the car just to do some stuff around the house. I've been needed to get some stuff around the house caught up, so go get back on it this weekend. So got three things I'd like to try to get done. So one thing is I want to get the front coilovers ordered, and I've called Viking Performance twice, and both times I gave them the wrong information. So, well, not the wrong, but didn't have everything they needed, which called the first time, thought I wrote everything down, and apparently I didn't. So gonna get all my front suspension back out and the front fender back out, put that back on the car, get all the measurements I need, and then so I can call them Monday and get some shocks, the coilovers ordered. And then the other thing I want to do is get the rear subframe. We haven't worked on that in a while, but it's just, I've been thinking it over, so now I just need to get it back out, do some grinding on it to get it cleaned up where I'm going to weld, and then I want to get it measured out and get it tacked in. And then once that's tacked in good, the plan is to cut out the rest of the 8-point roll bar in it, because it's got the 8-point in it, and we've got the 12-point to go back in it. So hoping to get all that done this weekend, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully thunderstorms dodge me, and the weather's actually super nice for July, so hoping to get a lot done this weekend. So thanks for watching, and we'll get to it. Alright, so went in the garage, got a wheel, got some A-arms, and got a hub. So a rotor. So big thing is, I know in my earlier video I was talking about some caliper brackets I could get so I could use my Granada front brakes, and that's not true. You can get brackets to use GM calipers, so it will use my Granada rotors, so I don't have to get new rotors, but I will have to get some new GM metric calipers for all this to work. So I'm going to have to get the caliper brackets and the calipers ordered here soon so I can get those installed. Alright, so got everything assembled, got a fender out just to make sure everything still looked halfway lined up, and it did. So now I got to get my measurements. So Viking needs to know, I don't know if you can see it, needs to know the distance from here to the ball joint, and then from the distance from here again to the bottom shock mount. And then it needs to know the angle from the bottom shock mount to the top shock mount. It needs to know that distance also, the angle and the distance. And then they need to know the size of the bolts so they can get the right ends on the shocks. So I'm gonna get all that stuff measured, and then hopefully that'll be all the stuff that Viking Performance needs to get my front coilovers made. So we'll get those in the mail hopefully, and then we'll take all this stuff back off. Alright, so went ahead and got the rear subframe pulled out from under the car. Part of the joys of working outside on a car instead of in a garage, you can see how it's getting a lot of surface rust. So plan will be hit it with a bunch of rust converter before I prime it and stuff. But for today I went ahead and ground all the ends with the grinder just to get them nice, so I'll be able to tack it in good. And I got up front, and then up front where my through the floor subframe connectors will connect, I got that ground. So it's pretty much all, this part's all ground and ready to go. So now I just need to get under the car and get those parts ground, and then we'll do some test fitting and some measuring, and then we'll do some welding. Alright, so we are making progress. So I got all the spots on the car where I need to weld the subframe to it ground, so hopefully I can get some decent welds. But when I pull a diagonal measurement, the subframe is like this in the car, so I got to pull it back down, and my one through the floor subframe connector up there, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like right there. I'm going to grind some more material off it, and then hopefully that'll bring it like this, and that'll get everything back in square when I pull some diagonals. So because I'm pulling them, what I did is, since I got the Mustang 2 cross member up there, and I'm pretty sure that's right, let's hope it's right, and I'm pulling diagonal measurements from that back to
the 4-link mounts here, because I figure if I get all that square, then the car shouldn't hopefully crab walk. So that'll be the true test of all this, to see if the car crab walks down the road once I'm all done or not, but let's hope not. Anyway, I'm gonna pull this back down and do some more grinding, and then I'll update you in a minute. So good news, so I did end up grinding about 1/4 of an inch off of the passenger side through the floor subframe connector there, and then that gave me the room I needed. So now if you pull a diagonal from the front cross member back to the 4-link mounts here, you get 95 1/8 of an inch on both sides. So we're actually dead on, so that's pretty cool. That's the only measurement on the car that's dead on, so everything else is just close enough. So we'll see how it goes. So next thing is I've got everything ready. I've measured everything twice, so I'm gonna go get the welder out and we're gonna get this thing tacked in and go from there. Alright, so we got this thing tacked in, and have you ever had one of those moments where you just figure stuff out? So when I first built this car, you know, did a ton of welding on it, and I thought I got pretty decent. And this go around, my welds have just been sucking. And I understand welding's a perishable skill. You know, you don't do it, you don't stay good at it unless you do it a lot. And so I was welding this one, which you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but it looks pretty crappy. And then it just quit welding. Well, it ended up, my freaking ground on my MIG was junk. And so I clamped it with some vice grips. And that was my very next weld. So it's not great, but it's not crap either, like a lot of the other welds have been. So at least I figured out why my MIG welding's been sucking so bad lately. So I'm gonna blame it on the ground and not me. So that's good news. But we actually got this thing tacked in. I have a TIG welder that we're gonna do all the final welding with. This is just get everything tacked in. So I got that tacked in the back, got it tacked in there, and on the subframe connector, and on this subframe connector, and my one good weld to show off to everybody. So we got this going on. So hopefully next thing I'm going to do is clean out the car, and then we'll go cut out the roll bar, which I've already got it cut down there from when I was doing the shade tree framework, if you watched that video. So we'll go ahead and get the rest of these bars cut out, and then I'm interested to lay down the new, this is also an 8-point from S&W, and when me and my buddy put it in, we put it in so the hardtop windows hide the horizontal bar, and I want to try to do that again, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it since I'm doing the, you know, the 12 point. So I'm going to have the halo bar, the bar up top. So I don't know if I can do that again, but I'd really like to, because I kind of like the way it's hidden. So we'll try that. Alright, so only took 2 Sawzall blades, but I got the 8-point cut out, so cut it close to the floor. And then if you look in here, I used the tool, the Sawzall, and I still got to come back in and figure out what I'm doing with the stubs down there and that side, and then these, because I got to get the, you know, to be able to get the hoop, the main hoop welded on top. What I did when I put in the 8-point is I drilled holes on the outside ones, and then I just dropped it to the floor and welded the top, and then put it in, welded in my 1/8 plates, and then it was all good. So I got to figure out how to get those 1/8 plates out, which that sounds like it's going to be a pain, but we'll figure something out. And so that's the next thing. So we got it tacked in good, so it's not going to go anywhere. So I went ahead and did full weld on the top. I said tacked earlier, but I actually fully welded the tops, just that way hopefully it won't move when I hang the rear end, because I do want to go ahead and get the rear end in it and all that stuff before we absolutely final weld it, just to double check everything. But alright, so it's been a really good weekend. You know, the 3 things I wanted to get done, I got the measurements I need for my shock, so hopefully I'll get those ordered tomorrow. Got the rear subframe in right and squared up and welded in. You know, it's tacked in, not welded in, but it's tacked in, welded in good enough so I can get the rear end out hopefully later this week and get it set in there and test out the rear end, get some rims and tires on it and see how they look, make sure it's sitting in the right spot before we weld it all up. And I got the roll bar cut out, so And I figured out what was wrong with my welder, so hopefully my welds will get better and I can keep moving on this thing now, because I was really dreading doing all this work because it's so structural on the car and my welds being so bad. It just wasn't giving me a good fuzzy. So I'm glad we figured out the issue with my welder, so now I can get rolling on a lot of other things on the car. So thanks for watching, and we'll keep at it. Thanks.